Okay, last session we discussed about the applications of a computer network. Now we will be discussing the requirements for a building a network. So we are discussing the computer network. So what are all the requirements that we require for building a computer networks? So here we will be discussing the perspective, connectivity, and cost, etc. We will be seeing in the further classes. So the first one is the perspective. What is the perspective means? For a user, what are all his requirements to build a computer network? So if I am using a network means what is the my imagination will be? I may think that I require some system, like it may be a mobile or a tab or a computer, and I require the internet connection. So this is the my imagination or kind of a things what I require for a to build the network. So such kind of a perspective, it can be divided into the three types. First one is an application programmer. So what his perspective means, what he thinks is nothing but he thinks that the service that he is based on the application what he requires, like he has to make sure that the message should be delivered on time, and the complete message will be delivered without the any error or without any drop of the packet. So application programmer requirement is that. So similarly, network designer is also one of the developer for the network. So what he will think means, he will be thinking of the cost effective, what are all the resources which are available, based on that resources how I can build the network. So those all things will be think by the network designer. And the network provider, of course, network provider, he has to provide the proper network without any loss of the data. So these are all the network provider. So these are all the main perspective. Based on this we can design the requirements. Okay, this is the some only few points is there. So the next requirements, mainly connectivity. Of course, for building a network, main thing is the connectivity. So in this connectivity, we can see the different terminologies, different definition is there. So we will see the one by one. Okay, so connectivity, what are some terminology we have written here: scale, link, nodes, etc., etc. We will see one by one. The first one is the scale. Scale is nothing but the maximum range, whether I am connecting the two devices or whether I am connecting the many devices, to the maximum how many computers I can connect, that is the scale. Link, it can be the two types, of course. It may be a wire network or it may be the wireless network. So when we are connecting the two system, the physical link, so this one we call it as a link. It may be a wire or it may be a wireless. Actual data where it is transferring, that one we call it as the link. Third one is the nodes. Nodes, nothing but you can call it as a system or you can call it as the computer, from where to where the data is transferring, that one we call it as the nodes. Okay, so while linking, there are point to point connectivity is there and multiple access is there. So what do you mean by point to point link? Point to point link is nothing but only the two systems that which are connected, the sender and the receiver. So only these two systems are connected. This one we call it as the point-to-point network. And the multiple access as the name suggests, there will be a many system will be connected where the data will be shared among all these systems. So if I send the message from this one system, it will be received to the all the system. This is the multiple access. So next terminology is the switched network. Switched network. So when many system will form, so that one we call it as the switched network. So here two switched network will be studying. First one is the circuit switch network, and the second one is packet switched network. So circuit is nothing but earlierly the connection will be formed. So from suppose I have to transfer the information from C1 to C4. So in between C2 may come, in between C3 may come. So the further connection will be established before transferring of the packet or nothing but the data. So it will decide from if I want to transfer from C1 to C4, I will choose C2 and then I will find the C4. So that means that earlier it will know its path from where to where I have to go. So this is the circuit switched. The best example here is the telephone. Okay, the landline kind of a telephone. If you see, the wire will be already connected, so the connection can be done easily. That is the circuit switched. Second one is the packet, or nothing but what we are using the internet kind. Internet we will be using the packet kind of network. Here the earlier establishment was not there. So what it has to do when I want to transfer the data from C1 to C4, it has to get connected with the respective router. This router will guide where to go and where the next further router and to the respective destination. So while transferring of the data, it will keep on building the connection. So that is the packet circuit. So this packet circuit, it will use a store and forward technique. Store and forward, why means from here from C1 to the it will give pass to the respective router. So till this message it will come here, first message, and it has to wait the till all the messages it will reach here. So that is nothing but the message is taking the large amount of data or the memory. So what we will do, we will fragment the message into the packets. So this packet one, it will reach the router and it has to wait the packet 2 has to, and packet 3 and packet 4. So like that it has to wait till all the packet will be reached to the router, and then it has to forward to the next router. So that is the store and forward. So here of course we will be maintaining some table, the shortest one, some problems we will be studying in the network chapter. So packet is the circuit uses store and forward method. The next one is the term we are using is the cloud. So cloud with a picture, if you want to see, when many systems are connected via the routers, this one we call it as the cloud. Nothing but the connection of many systems, also we call it as the one of the cloud. Okay, so the next is host. Host are nothing but your system who is sending the data and who is receiving the data. Those we call it as the host. And the switches is quite important. So what do you mean by the switches means, suppose one system here is C1 and the receiver is somewhere here. Okay, so in between some C2, this one, these two systems will be connected to the one of the switches. Okay, so many system will be connected to the one switch, and here also there is a one switch. So what does it mean? Suppose I want to send the data from C1 to C4, I have to pass the data to the respective switch which it is connected. This switch will guide further where you have to go, whether you have to go for this switch or that may be another switch. So these switches will guide where to go. So such it will connect many system. Like this, here also the many system will be connected. This is the actual meaning of the switch. So here only I will tell the routers. So there may be some different confusion between the switches and the router will be there. So like that, this one we call it as the one of the network. Okay, so from this network I want to connect to the another network. There we use the router. Also we call it as the gateway. Right. So if you see, this one is one LAN, this is the another LAN. So connection of a LAN we call it as the network. So from one network to connect with another network we use a router. So router, or we also call it as the gateway. Okay, so there is no confusion. Switches, connection of the few systems, router to build the connection between the two networks. That is the switches and the routers different. Internet also we discussed in the beginning only. Connection of the many systems we call it as the internet. And address of course we need a, from passing the packet from C1 to C4 we require the address. So respective address we call it as the IP address. And there is a few more terms: unicast, broadcast, and multicast. So what is a unicast? Unicast, only there is a two system, sender and the receiver. So this is the unicast kind of a system. And broadcast, so when the source wants to send the message to the all its respective connected systems, so this one we call it as the broadcast. And the multicast, so some sender wants to send the message to the another system which is in the another network. Okay, So within the broadcast means the which are all connected with the same network, that is the broadcast, whereas the multicast from one system to one system which is in the same network wants to send message to the another system which is in the another network. So suppose I want to send a message from Davangere to Bangalore, this is the multicast. Whereas if I want to send the message within the Davangere, that will be the broadcast. Okay. So these are all the terminology we have to understand in the connectivity.